Boutique Guitars, the playground of collectors, doctors, and lawyers, and that one dude in your local scene whose parents definitely paid for everything. 4, 5, even 6-figure masterpieces, the kind that you hang on the wall and you never play because if you breathe on it wrong, you just killed half its value. And the big brands, they're laughing all the way to the bank, cranking these things out for the price of a decent used car and then calling it art. But here's the thing. There's a brand new boutique guitar with Japanese level craftsmanship that absolutely humiliates overpriced trophy pieces. And the US builders, they couldn't touch it at triple the price. That's because somebody pulled it off at only $1,300. Yeah, let that sink in. And later in this show, I'm gonna put it head to head in a blind shootout with a Fender American Ultra. You think you can hear a difference? You think that Made in USA is gonna be a sonic standout? Stick around and find out. Hey there, I'm Glenn Fricker, and today I'm ruining boutique guitars because somebody has to. Now, for every jaw-dropping, handcrafted masterpiece, there's some clown in a shed selling plywood with strings for the price of a used Honda Civic. And guitar players line up like it's the last bottle of water in the desert, even though it tastes like piss. In theory, boutique means small batch, hand-built premium materials, flawless fretwork, and a price tag that makes your accountant cry. Think of guitars like the Suhr Modern Plus for $4,225, or a Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul Historic Reissue for $5,999, or a PRS Private Stock McCarty 594 for only $16,365. That's top shelf stuff. The kind that you keep in a case like it's a Fabergé egg and tell yourself you're investing in craftsmanship, even though you mostly just stare at it in between bouts of buyer's remorse and questioning your life goals. But boutique also has a dark side. The side where some guy with a belt sander and a dream decides that he's suddenly a master luthier after watching 3 YouTube videos. Suddenly, you're staring at a $3,500 custom build where the neck pocket gap is big enough to smuggle a pack of cigarettes, or a relic job that looks like it lost a knife fight with a cheese grate. Or my personal favorite, the 17-string masterpiece Jared Dines paid upfront for, only to be shipped a cheap Chinese knockoff. Hey boutique builders, if you're gonna rob people, at least do us the favor and wear a fucking mask! If you're shopping for a guitar, keep this in mind. Boutique doesn't automatically mean good. Sometimes it means firewood with strings attached. Sometimes it means you paid luxury car money for something that feels like it came out of a high school shop class. $1,300 will buy you a lot of guitar these days. Factories like Cort in Indonesia are pumping out top quality instruments on an industrial scale. Now, for that kind of money, you can snag an LTD EC1000, a Charvel Pro Mod, or even a Jackson Chris Broderick Signature, all fantastic gig-ready guitars. But boutique quality, that usually means digging far deeper into your wallet, at least it did. That's until now. RJ Guitars didn't come out of some soulless corporate marketing lab where soups brainstormed new ways to overcharge you for a slab of wood with strings. It started as a literal hole-in-the-wall music store run by Ramon RJ Jacinto, the guy who built the Philippines rock and roll scene from the ground up. This is the man who fired up the legendary DZ RJ station in his parents' backyard and brought rock music to the Philippines. He's the reason that Pinoy rock exists. If you don't know what the hell that is, go check out the track Beat Beat by the Juan de la Cruz Band. I first heard it in Manila a couple of years back and it absolutely blew me away. By the way, Manila has an absolutely ripping music scene. If you ever have a chance to visit, go, you're gonna have a good time. Now, there was a lot of political turmoil in the Philippines in the 70s and 80s, but by the late 80s, RJ was able to come back from exile. He's playing clubs and he needed one guitar to cover every sound that he was using on stage. Master luthier Rudy Discipulo, apologies if I got that wrong, made it happen, and instead of stopping there, RJ turned it into a global guitar brand without charging $4,000 for a bolt-on neck and some fake road wear like certain heritage brands. And this is the genius move here. They partnered with the Japanese builder Asuka, the same people behind the James Tyler Japan guitars. They just didn't build guitars for RJ, they trained his luthiers in Japanese level precision and brought in Kaizen, the philosophy of constant improvement. That's the same principle that Toyota uses to build cars that run forever, and now it's being baked into these guitars. So what you got here isn't just some other import, it's a world-class instrument from a guy who's lived and breathed music for decades, built by a team that treats every guitar like it's gonna be graded by a samurai with a clipboard, not stamped good enough by some guy in a factory whose shareholders want yet another yacht. Let's see what $1,300 gets us from the Philippines. so here it is out of the box. And all I can say is this has really got wow factor. I mean, I'm just blown away by the look of this guitar. I gotta say, it's a little bit heavier than it looks. This is a nice solid chunk of wood. And I believe the wood here is mango. I have never ever seen a mango guitar. And we've got the compound neck here. So it's a little bit rounded at one end, a little bit flatter on the other. And that's really cool. I gotta say, aesthetically, this is really, really freaking cool. But the important thing is, you know, you guys really want to know, especially when we're playing a guitar like this that has this beautiful wood, is what does the wood sound like? And that sounds like this. Truly awe-inspiring. But again, when we plug the guitar in, it does make slightly different sounds. But I know you guys love the clean guitar test. And for this instrument, I actually brought in the heavy guns. I had my very good friend Christian Vey come on out and give us a little demo. So we're going to check it out on cleans right now. Oh yeah, so Signal Chain is the Bad Cat Lynx 50, just an absolutely brilliant amp. That's going into my Engel cabinet with the brand new UK-made Vintage 30s, and of course that's going into a 57, a Lewitt 440, then it's into the Neve, and then we're using the Eventide H9000 for effects. Just so lovely. I'm really loving the sound I'm getting out of this rig, and this guitar just plays so nicely. It's really, really a lot of fun. I gotta say, I warmed up for an hour before I even rolled camera, even though Christian's playing mostly on this one. This guitar is just an awful lot of fun to play. So one thing that does come up on the show quite a bit is an output jack test, and I gotta say, I really like what they did here. Instead of the traditional Strat jack, they actually turned it around, and that makes a lot of sense. So if you're a gigging musician, that's not going to jump out on you if you accidentally step on your cable. That's a really nice touch, and I think that's a cool attention to detail piece that a lot of people kind of overlook. And it's also rock solid. Like, you really got to pull on this fucker to get it to come out. You can tell this was meant to meet the needs of a full-time gigging musician, especially because RJ is 80 and still playing gigs, and I think that's absolutely amazing too. And fingerprint magnet test, well, nope, you can rub yourself all over it and it's still going to look great. Okay, I might want to check my phrasing on that for the next video. Let's check out the edge of breakup sounds. And the other test I always give guitars is the neck dive test. Now, RJ was cool enough to send this super awesome rawhide leather strap along with the guitar. So let's put the strap on. That joke never gets old. And just see what kind of neck dive we're dealing with. This is a Strat shape, so I'm not anticipating any, especially considering the weight of the body. This should be a very nicely balanced instrument. All right, moment of truth. Doesn't move at all. This guitar is going absolutely nowhere. That is super cool. This is an extremely nicely balanced guitar. The strap is super comfortable as well. And I also got to mention they included strap locks as well, so you don't have to worry about your guitar going for a ride. Let's check it out on Shred Guitar. One of those online dipshits who insist that a guitar has to be a minimum of $3,000 to be considered a real instrument, I gotta say, you're not doing yourself any favors. In fact, you're really messing up, because this thing just absolutely rips, as Christian has just shown, but yeah, it even rips on the metal stuff too. I think it's safe to say that this guitar will work across many different genres of music. As we just demonstrated, it does the clean stuff great. It does the metal stuff great. I think the only thing I want to do to this right now is maybe tune it down a half step to get more closer to those Van Halen style tunings, because it's just a little bit high to get that sound right now. Will it hold its own against an American Ultra? That's the big question here. I mean, like, you know, there's this whole perception that if a guitar isn't made in the USA, it can't possibly be anywhere nearly as good as stuff that is made in the USA. Well, I've got this, but I've also got a Fender American Ultra downstairs. I'm going to pull up and I'm going to have Christian play on this guitar, the American, and then a wildcard guitar as well. And I want you to tell me which guitar you think sounds the absolute best. Leave a comment below and we're going to follow up in a week or two and I'll show you exactly what's what. Here we go. So what do I really think about this guitar? Let's give this the Spectre Sound 5-star breakdown. For packaging, 4.5 stars. I wanted to give this a 5-star simply because the hardshell case is amazing. It's one of the best I've ever had the pleasure of opening. The aesthetic is killer, the clips feel solid, and it's even got a TSA approved lock, which I don't think I've ever seen on a guitar case before. However, they could ship the guitar with just a bit more protection. Most guitars in hardshell cases are still wrapped with a thin foam layer with extra padding around the headstock. Why is that important? I'll answer that in just a second. Setup, 5 stars. Right out of the box, this guitar played like it was begging to be recorded. Whoever set this up didn't just know what they were doing, they clearly cared about it too. This isn't just good enough, ship it. This is make the guitarist grin like an idiot. RJ absolutely nailed it here. Components, 5 stars. What's not to love? You got go-to locking tuners right here because nobody wants to spend half their life tuning. A 5-way switch, coil taps, and yes, even a treble bleed on the volume knob so your tone doesn't go from sparkle to mud when you roll it back. RJ gives you this right out of the gate. And that's how you treat guitar players right. Now, if you're into traditional trims and not Floyd's, this will definitely get the job done. And the locking tuners do keep everything in tune. It isn't a case where I'm constantly trying to fuck with it and retune it every time I just hit the bar. Cool stuff indeed. Fit and finish, 4.5 stars. These guitars are freaking gorgeous. Now, normally I'm a paint kind of guy. Give me candy apple red or a metallic blue, and I'm more than happy. But this mango wood finish, I literally said wow when I opened the case. It just blew me away. The fretwork's flawless, as you'd expect from a custom. However, you remember that headstock padding thing? Because of the lack of it, one of the guitars that they shipped me, this one here, did pick up a tiny bit of damage on the headstock. Not a deal breaker, but it would have been easily avoided with a little bit of foam. And yeah, this one's not half bad looking either, is it? Overall, 4.75 stars. RJ sent me 3 guitars, and unfortunately, one showed up with that minor ding in the headstock. Now, I'm not losing any sleep over it because the guitar still plays beautifully, but with 3 instruments to judge from, it's still clear that a small tweak in the packaging would prevent this kind of thing from happening entirely. That is an easy win for them and would keep these guitars arriving in absolute perfect condition every single time. And believe me, you want these arriving perfect because they're seriously impressive instruments. Now, if you want to see what the other two can do, make sure you're subscribed to the show because they will be making an appearance and you're not going to want to miss that. Because when it comes to value for money, I think RJ is going to be the brand to beat. RJ is making some utterly incredible guitars. They look gorgeous and they play brilliantly. And for $1,300, you're getting Japanese level craftsmanship that flat out embarrasses guitars priced 3 times as much. These are some of the finest guitars that I've ever had on the show. And a few years ago, honestly, I would have felt unworthy of even playing them because my guitar skills were so terrible. These ones actually inspire me to play. And if I see it on a stand, I just want to pick it up and let it rip. And that is what really makes a truly great instrument. Not the logo, not the hype, and certainly not the price tag. The RJ Customs are now available online, links in the description below. And when I drop the blind shootout reveal, you're gonna wanna see who got it wrong. So hit subscribe, help out the show, and put your ears to the test. I'll see you next time. You think you can tell the difference? You think that you think you can hear a difference? You think you can... Sorry, I'm really Canadian. I apologize.
For the record, this is not Instagram bullshit. This is like 1 to 2 takes max with Glenn like, come on, Christian, play guitar.